Welcome to today's episode of Day to Day with Dorothy. Do we like that? Do we like that? I have missed you, let me tell you. So, we're live on Facebook and Instagram. Last week's episode was only showcased on Instagram because, well, I don't know what was happening with Facebook. I made a couple attempts to try to go live, and it was just a total fail. So here we are. We're back. Instagram, we hung out last week. Facebook, I missed you. Happy New Year on both sides. I feel like it's still Happy New Year because January's not over. So it'll be Happy New Year, till the end of the month, until everyone gets used to writing 2019 on their checks, paperwork, documentation, whatever. So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about trust as it relates to our teams. Whether we are working in the 9 to 5, we have a team of people that are part of our side hustle as we build our empires. If we have teams in place, trust is a really important element if we're going to take whatever it is that we're doing, whatever project, initiative, to the next level. Not only do we have to be able to trust our teams, but as leaders, we need to be able to trust ourselves and as individual contributors as well. So trust is a really important element of any team dynamic. But before we look outward, which is our typical thing to do, we always want to look outside of ourselves because it's easier. It's easier to see what's happening in someone else's backyard than to look at the weeds that are growing in our own. So first, it begins with us trusting ourselves. So before we dive in, if this is your first time tuning in, I'm Dorothy McBride. I am your personal change agent. I'm one half of the whole at the Lip Block firm, and we are, Shayla Vernado and I, the founders. We are your business besties, bringing all things business, leadership, personal development, and strategy your way. So this is my weekly show as one half of the greater whole, and I focus in leadership development and personal development. So if you haven't met me before, you're in for a treat. I always like to dance, kicking it off, getting in the zone as we get into alignment with our leadership and our leadership style. If you hear a little rustling, don't worry. It's just my notes. I like to make sure that I'm prepared. Okay, so we are talking about trust, and not only trusting the team that we need them in order to move this stuff forward, but also, huge piece, trusting ourselves, right? Because let's say that we're the leader. Let's say that we're the one setting the vision. If we don't trust ourselves and we aren't exhibiting some of these really important traits, how in the world are the team members going to trust us? And also, how are we going to get them to trust one another if we aren't in alignment, if you will? So what are some elements to consider when we're looking at self-trust? First of all, one thing to consider is integrity. Are you congruent? Do people on your team know what to expect from you? Or are you up, then you're down, then you're sideways, then you're all over the place? Because if you're not congruent, if you're not being truthful, if you're not being honest about who you really are as a leader, it's hard to emphasize the importance of trust in a team environment. So that's one piece, right? There's 4 pieces that we're going to talk about. But the first piece is integrity. Are you congruent? And you know if you're congruent or not. You can feel if you're wobbly and you don't have both feet on the ground. You know if you're out of alignment. Next, when you think about your intention, what is on your agenda? As a leader, as you're moving this team forward, what are you really trying to do? What's your plan? What's your purpose in this quarter or in this trimester or in this fiscal year? What's the intention? And is your team clearly aware of the intentions? One way to test this is to get them to play it back to you. Checking in. Hey, what are we trying to do this year? What's on our goal list? What are we aiming for? Because if they can't regurgitate it back and repeat it back and get jazzed and excited, then you know that you got to back the train up a little bit and make sure that everybody's in alignment so that they can trust you and trust the process and really trust the vision and get on board. Hey, Britain, thanks for taking a break with yours truly, Dorothy McBride. Okay, so number 1, integrity. Am I congruent? Number 2, what's my intention? What's on the agenda? What's the purpose? What's the plan, the vision, mission, all of that? And does the team know? Then the next piece is, the third piece is, what's my track record? What is my results looking like? Do I have a strong track record? Because that's gonna also impact my ability to get the team to come on board. Let's say that I haven't been able to execute for a month. I might have some work to do. I'm gonna have some extra long hours, a lot of legwork, a lot of relationship building, perhaps relationship repair, whatever the case may be, to get these folks back on the train so that we can zip off into the future and make magic. Okay, so asking ourselves, what has been my track record up to this point? Now, let's say that you have a great track record. Well, then you're winning. Awesome. The self-trust magic is already happening. And then last but not least, in the self-trust space, what are my capabilities? And do I have the capacity to accomplish these tasks, to produce whatever I got to produce, to foster the talent that needs to be fostered in order to get this stuff done? Do I have the knowledge, skills, abilities, and other talents in order to make this happen? And with these 4 elements, you gotta be truthful. We're talking about trust. So you gotta see where you are and make sort of like this self-assessment. And then if you're not sure, check in with some of your trusted peers, or check in with a mentor, or check in with somebody who is like your business advocate or sponsor to see where you may have some opportunities. Because I think sometimes it's like a Johari window, right? Where there's always these pieces that we aren't always aware of. And so we have to make sure that we're cross-checking and not just solely relying on, well, I think everything's going fabulous. Because sometimes we don't always know. So what are those 4 components? The integrity piece. Are you congruent? The intention piece. What's on your agenda? What are you trying to do? The results piece. What's your track record? What's that been looking like? And then the capabilities piece, right? What skills, knowledge, abilities, and other talents do I bring to the table in order to move myself and my team forward? It all begins with self-trust. Then we move into the trust of the teams that we're running, right? So we may have to work cross-functionally. This may be a team that's not always working together, and we may have to take these steps to build trust. But in the quote, right, it's talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championships. So when we're trusting each other, this has a positive organizational impact. The organization, the department itself, we're going to see higher productivity. We're going to see higher morale. We're going to see better quality in the results that we're driving towards, and we're going to see effective and impactful communication. That's within the department and within the organization if we have teams that trust one another, right? But teams are made up of individuals. So what's the individual impact when there's trust present? Number 1, I think this one is really important. If we're in an environment where we trust our leader and we trust the team, we're not going to feel isolated. This piece, I think, is particularly important because this is when we have team members that disengage or actively disengage, or they start looking for a new job and they don't feel comfortable to come to the leader and say, hey, I'm struggling here. I'm drowning. I'm dying, right? Hi, Tomira. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, girl, hey. Tell the puppies I said hi, including the small one. Go ahead, just tell them. So again, if we're not feeling isolated and we're feeling like we're part of the team and we're having this impactful contribution, if something's going awry, we are more likely to tell our leader and keep our leader in the loop. Also, there's going to be increased respect. if I trust you and you trust me and I trust my team, I'm going to have enough respect for these individuals that I'm working with to keep them in the loop, to share what's going on. And that if I say that I'm going to do something and then I realize I can't do it, I'm going to go ahead and communicate that. And then here's another piece. If there's trust in the team, there's going to be greater participation, greater involvement. That's when you see these individuals, leader included, showing up to work and saying, what more can I do? How can I really make a difference and contribute? And then last but not least, there won't be this culture of fear or these undertones of anger when we have trust. So you might be thinking, okay, great, Dorothy. We've been with you for break time for about 11 minutes or so. So what is something that I can do with my team, whether it's in the 9 to 5 section of my life or it's in the 5 to 9 side hustle section of my life? So here's my suggestion. I recommend doing this activity called depletes and completes. So trust depletes, trust completes. So what do I mean by that? You, as the leader or as the, go-getter, spearheading person of whatever it is that you're doing, you make a list of things that complete you when it comes to trust. I might say, I love it when people communicate if they can't do something. This is going to make me trust you. If you are going to be unable to make the meeting and you let me know, that's going to make me trust you. If you disagree with me and you don't like the direction that we're taking this project and you let me know versus triangulating with other members of the team like, man, that idea is whack. We don't want to do any of it. That's going to make me trust you more. Being able to have that open communication, the open dialogue, and it not being all task-based, but being relationship-based as well, where you take the time to get to know me as a person. Even though I want to work hard and be diligent and get stuff done, right? These are things that are trust completes. Trust depletes would be triangulating, where for example, maybe we have a meeting together and I ask, is everybody okay? Are we all on the same page? And everybody's like, yeah, we're all on the same page. And then a couple days later, I'm hearing through the grapevine that no one knows what they're supposed to do. This happens all the time. No one has any idea, but no one wants to ask me. Or you in particular. Maybe I have a relationship with you, but you're not communicating with me and telling me like, yo, no one knows what's happening. Being able to have that dialogue and that conversation, because if we can't, then that causes the trust to deplete. And then not executing or not delivering on time or not showing up. These things erode trust. These would be trust depletes. So, hi, David. How's Hawaii? Are you still there? Hello. Welcome. So these are things that would deplete trust if I'm on the team, or just feeling like I'm not included, right? So there's meetings that I'm finding out that I wasn't invited to the meeting, or maybe there's a social after work and I'm not invited. All of these things would erode trust. But if you did the opposite, it would be something that would complete trust. So you do this activity yourself, and then you have your team do it as well, so that everybody can get line of sight into, you know what, this really works for Dorothy. When you do these things, it makes her happy. For example, so this is just an example. This isn't my truth per se, but you might have someone on your team that says, listen, if the meeting is starting at 9 a.m., it better start at 9 a.m. sharp. When meetings start and end on time, it makes me trust you and the team more. And I actually think that that's a good example because it's like really easy to understand. Now, when we start meetings at 9:15, I feel like I don't trust the team as much to start things on time and end things on time because it feels like the team doesn't respect my time in general, right? So we've got our trust complete and our trust deplete laid out. So we know that when we're working with our team, we need to be very conscientious about what time we start and end our meeting, just as an example. So that is sort of the trust piece in a nutshell. When we have teams that trust one another, we see the individual impact in a positive way, but we also see an like a departmental and an organizational impact as well. So while we may not have classes on trust or have whole days dedicated to trust, it's something that's very important if we're going to be building high performing teams, whether it is at our 9 to 5 or our 5 to 9. We want to make sure that this is something that we keep top of mind as leaders, as the vision setters, as the trend setters. But all of it begins with us personally. It all starts with self-trust. So I hope you have enjoyed Break Time with yours truly, your personal change agent, Dorothy McBride. And thank you so much for tuning in. And again, let me know if you like Day to Day with Dorothy. So we've got 2 titles running right now. We have Diamonds with Dorothy, Day to Day with Dorothy, and then I have a couple others that I'm going to be running through because I got a list that was compiled from your feedback of what to call the show. So it has been awesome spending a Friday break with you. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend as we head into the rest of Friday. So, see you guys next week. Ta-ta for now. TTFN. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Yeah. Those were my notes dropping.